The Ultimate Husband. By Sky Kissing Wolf. Episode 3. Meanwhile, at Neptunus Corporation. Lily had just left the meeting room after finishing her meeting with the shareholders when she saw her female employees talking and laughing at their cell phones. How dare they shrug their duties during working hours? Lily walked toward them intending to reprimand, but instead, she saw that they were watching a video, and in that video was none other than Daryl. "My bike bro, don't you worry. I'll avenge you for this." In the video, Daryl was caressing his bike with a face full of sorrow. "Huh, this guy's is hilarious. Who is it? You don't know? It's Miss Linden's husband." "What? Do you mean that piece of trash Daryl? So I've heard that she was married to a piece of trash." The ladies were happily gossiping away when one of them stood up and did a mimicry of Daryl. "I don't suppose you girls know that earlier today when I just arrived at work, I heard Daryl said he was gonna but the worship of Crystal for Miss Linden." "Ha ha ha, that is such a huge joke. Yeah, look at how uncouth he is, so distressed over his broken bike. The worship of Crystal cost 30 million, he'll have to work several lifetimes for that amount." Their discussion was in full swing when one of them turned around and noticed Lily looming over them. The expression on their faces changed in an instant. "Sorry Miss Linden, we'll get back to work." Lily bit her lip tightly, trying hard to put up with the humiliation. Even though she was the general manager, it was hard not to get red-faced in this situation. She did not go out for lunch, but instead locked herself in her office, unable to help herself but to get teary-eyed. Meanwhile, Daryl was walking home while humming a tune. He had to attend his high school reunion in a moment, so he went back to change. Initially, Daryl was in a good mood, but as he entered the house, he was greeted by the sight of Samantha sitting cross-legged on the sofa, looking at him with cold eyes. "Daryl, good timing to be back, get over here." Daryl had been living with the family for 3 years, and the fear he had for Samantha was extreme. "Daryl, pack your stuff, you're going to get a divorce tomorrow and move out of here," said Samantha coldly. "But ma'am, my love for Lily is sincere," said Daryl with his head lowered. After 3 years of company, it was certain that he would develop feelings for Lily. Samantha slammed the table upon hearing those words. She stood up and walked up next to Daryl. "You love her. I've put up with you for 3 years, what else can you do besides household chores? How are you fit for my daughter? Do you know that numerous men are vying to be with my daughter? Ashton Adagio just called and said as long as I grant him my daughter, he'll immediately give a dowry of $20 million. 20 million dowry?" Daryl let out a faint smile. Ashton was a distant relative under the Darby clan, he was the son of an aunt. All the funds for Ashton's company were sponsored by the Darbys. Daryl had already called his clan beforehand, and within 24 hours, Ashton Adagio would left with nothing. How would he find that 20 million? "Ma'am, I won't leave. I'll agree to the divorce, but only if Lily says it to me in person." Daryl finished his words, turned around, and left the house. "How dare you? Come back here right now." Samantha stomped her feet in anger and went after Daryl in her high heels, but he was too far gone. In the evening, at Neptunus Corporation, Lily had locked herself in her office for the entire day. That video of Daryl had gone viral around the company, making him a laughing stock. Lily took a deep breath before slowly leaving her office. "All right, you guys can leave now," said Lily to her employees. "Miss Linden, there's a package for you." The front desk receptionist carried a box over and handed it to Lily. Upon saying the box, the crowd let out a sound of astonishment. It cannot possibly be so luxurious. How can a mere delivery package be gilded? Wow, what delivery package is this? "Yeah, Miss Lily, it's my first time seeing a gilded delivery package." Although Lily was stern at work, she maintained a good relationship with her employees. Everyone was curious about the package, it was as if the entire office had formed a crowd around her. Lily wondered as well. She had never bought stuff online. Where could this package have come from? Seeing that everyone was excited, Lily let out a little smile and gently opened the box. It was at the instant when everyone was stupefied. There was pin-drop silence for about 10 seconds before everybody suddenly spoke in furor. This is the worship of crystal. It can't be. The globally limited to only 99 pairs, and sold for up to $30 million, that worship of crystal. It's so beautiful. Miss Lily, you're such a fortunate lady. They were discussing among themselves, but Lily herself could not utter a single word. She had been fond of this pair of heels for many years. One look was enough for her to determine that it was the real deal. How was this possible? Lily stepped back in disbelief. It was as if she was in a dream. Unless Ashton had sold his company, and gifted her this pair of heels. The thought of that touched Lily's heart. If she wore the worship of crystal to tonight's gathering, she would surely be the talk of the place. Donghai City, Fluria KTV. This KTV is one of the Donghai City's famous entertainment centers. Buying power was very high. Those who came are all famous people, filling up the entrance by their luxurious cars. It was here that Daryl would be attending his high school reunion. Daryl rode his newly bought electric bike here. He was whistling a tune as he parked his vehicle at the entrance. He had wanted to buy a car, but he had given his identity card to the patriarch, so he could only settle for a bike for now. He was about to meet his high school classmates soon, and he was excited. It was just as he got his vehicle parked that he heard a hurried whistling. Can you move? You're only riding a shabby bike, and you want to occupy an entire spot. A BMW 5 Series stopped by the side. The driver stuck his head out of the window and called out to Daryl. The man and Daryl locked eyes and were surprised to see each other. Class monitor, said Daryl as he ran toward the car. The man inside the car was none other than Daryl's high school class monitor, Clifford Conway. Daryl? What happened to you? Clifford got out of his car, and looked Daryl up and down before he merely let out a cold laugh, and hastily went into the KTV. Daryl awkwardly called out to him, wanting to strike up a conversation, but Clifford had no intention of acknowledging him. The two of them walked to the reserved KTV room one after another. The rest of the class had already arrived, and they turned their heads toward the door upon seeing their arrival. Class monitor is so handsome now. Truly a successful man. The room turned lively upon his arrival. They were all crowding around Clifford. Clifford was wearing a suit, and it looked expensive. Most importantly, he was holding a BMW car key in his hand. Meanwhile, Daryl, who was cast aside, was dressed in bargain goods, and in his hands were merely keys for an electric bike. His appearance was no different from a delivery person. No one even cared to acknowledge him. It was truly an awkward moment. However, Daryl did not care for such things. His eyes scanned the vicinity. After not seeing them for so many years, his female classmates were prettier than the other. The prettiest of all, however, was still Giselle Lint. Giselle was the class's goddess. She frequently wore jeans that accentuated her firm figure. Her beauty was unrivaled. A few years without seeing Giselle, it seemed that she had acquired a touch of maturity, exuding an air of gentleness. She wore skin-tight jeans to the reunion, further enchanting any onlookers. Clifford also took notice of Giselle and was hooked almost immediately. He could not help but ask, "Giselle, you're so charming, what are you up to these days?" Before Giselle could reply, a lady nearby had already replied first. "Class monitor, you should know by now that Giselle is going to be a celebrity. She is signing a contract with Platinum Corporation soon." Whoa! The room was in an uproar. Who in Donghai City has not heard of Platinum Corporation? Several A-list celebrities were all under them. To be fair, Giselle was a beautiful woman. Compared to the other A-list celebrities, she was not any inferior to them at all. Daryl was excited upon hearing Platinum Corporation mentioned, for when tomorrow comes, that company would belong to him. On that thought, Daryl smiled and approached Giselle, wanting to sit beside her and have a chat. As he sat down, he saw Giselle frowning, giving him a content look as she said, "Can you not sit here?" "Oh." Daryl stood up slowly. "Is someone sitting here?" "Nope, Elle just don't want to sit beside you." Giselle replied coldly. "Daryl, you're attending our high school reunion, can't you at least put on some decent clothes? Isn't it dirty wearing those bargain goods?" For more episodes, please support my channel by hitting the subscribe button.